Welcome to the Show Me the Money podcast, Unlocking Property Finance. Join us on an exciting journey into the world of property finance, where we uncover secrets, strategies, and opportunities that can turn your property dreams into a lucrative reality. Welcome to Show Me the Money, Unlocking Property Finance.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the next live session of Show Me the Money live, and with your host as usual, myself, Beau Sharma, London-based property investor and developer.
And myself, Marc, the owner and managing director of Wolf Financial, specialist property finance brokers. And today we have the pleasure of being joined by Nick Payne of Beau Brummell Productions. Had to make sure I was pronouncing that correctly there. But welcome, Nick. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you, Marc and Beau. Very, very good. Yeah, just a good meeting down the road. I just dashed back for that. I got back in time. I was a little worried I was going to be a bit late, but I'm here.
Excellent. We are glad to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself and then maybe going on to what you do in this great wide world.
Okay, so my name's Nick. I live in a place called Leigh-on-Sea, which is a really nice area to live. It's about 35 miles from London. I run a video and photography production company called Beau Brummell Productions, and we sort of work on different different types of projects. But one of the areas that we focus on is videos and photography for property. And a lot of the things we do, we'll get work with the agents around Leigh and also throughout Essex, sometimes in London. We'll get the properties dressed, we'll photograph the properties, and we'll video the properties. So that can be one angle that we do. Another thing that we've done recently, we've done a couple of them, are HMO owners where they've bought the properties and they've developed the property, the HMOs, and we've taken a video for like when they started, about their investments, how they got the investments for the property, and all aspects of the development and, you know, the tradespeople, the whole gambit, really. So there's different things that we can do. But as I said, I think, you know, the voice to camera thing, it gives an insight into all aspects, as I said, from the finance to, you know, getting the developments done. So a whole range of things, really.
I see. And you and I have known each other for a little while now, probably a couple of years, I would say.
Couple of years, yeah.
Met at the Progressive Property Network in Brentwood.
Correct.
And it really is something that I think a lot of people overlook when they get into property, about how the properties are presented and how they are, I suppose, tarted up into a way that makes it attractive, because it does make a difference. And it makes a difference to when a valuer goes round, and also when prospective purchases are going round. So what is it that you guys do? How do you showcase a property? What are the things that you try and put in place?
Well, again, it sort of depends what the property is, but we tend to do sort of the higher range properties. But I mean, I see a lot of just getting off that a little bit. I see a lot of let's say quite expensive properties, and they're I don't like the video. I don't like the way the videos are done. It's one room to room very, very quickly, and we tend to sort of like, if you like, spend time on certain features, make sure there's things obviously that are not that shouldn't be in the property, like very personal things. Sometimes we just rearrange things. We're quite OCD in the way we do things, and we just try and get the best out of the property. Also, things like location are really important as well. So we use drones. So we use drone flights to showcase the property's location, because that's as you know, that's extremely important, where the property is located, as well as what the property is, because sometimes the property might not be an expensive property, but it might be in a fantastic location. So yeah, so we just try and highlight the main features in a sort of 1.5 to 2 minute video. And also what we do as well for estate agents, we produce a video of about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll produce a very short video, like a 30-second video for Instagram channels. And we'll also shoot in a landscape format for a 1.5 minute video, but then we'll shoot several portrait videos, which are great to receive on phones for social media. So we try and sort of cover quite a lot of things in a sort of 2 or 3 hour shoot. So that's what we do.
And Ro, as a property investor and developer yourself, what do you tend to do for properties? Do you show them off in this way?
Yeah, definitely, and I think the way that we all interact with and utilise social media to showcase our work has definitely evolved over the years. So it's something we see a lot more of now. So I've always used like a gimbal. Historically, I've used a gimbal. To just get nice smooth shots as you're panning around, and just a handheld one, which I stick my iPhone in. Not done that for a little while now, actually, but I think one thing that obviously is really important is that quality, because it's the quality of the imagery and the tech that you're using to an extent, because otherwise people just won't want to watch it and they'll scroll past. But yeah, typically I've made my own videos, and I've tried to do a bit of home editing and use some visuals. I also have a drone, which I've not actually used for any property visuals recently, but it's having a blend of imagery and different types that you can put together just to make that post a bit more engaging, but more importantly to get the message across of who you are and what you're doing, what the scope of the project is.
Yeah, we just quick talking about drones. We've got a member of the team that's got a very small drone, and they can fly through really narrow spaces. So if you've got a really big, maybe a big office or even a big home, you can really get dramatic pictures footage, flying the drone through the. But it's a bit of a specialist thing, and it doesn't happen that often. But it's something that we can also offer to give a different perspective. But I see a lot of it. I do see a lot of house videos, on expensive properties that I don't think are particularly. I don't know why they've shot them in that way. I mean, we all have different styles and different ways to do it, but the gimbal is obviously important because it keeps the camera steady. You get that really smooth cut through, whereas if you haven't got a gimbal, it's a bit all over the place. So the gimbal's an important part of it, of the setup.
I like the idea of having a drone flying through the property.
Oh yeah, I've got
as well.
I can I can send you some. I can send you some videos, or showcase some videos. Send you some through to show you what it's like. It's amazing. This very small drone. What can be done? Yeah, and it looks great. They get some great images.
I've never seen that. I've seen the drones that obviously span the outside area and show the location. But yeah, inside will make a lot of difference, because one thing I've seen with agents is they have somebody who walks around with a camera or a phone or whatever it may be, and they go from room to room, like you said, and they often speed it up, but then you'll catch a picture of the person in the mirror on the phone, and it doesn't look the best. But with the drone, it's a lot more professional.
Yeah. I found this guy in London. It was at a networking event, and that's what he did, and I'd never heard of it. Didn't know that was possible. Well, but as I said, that's what he does, and he's so very, very good at what he does. So he's a great member of my team. But just quickly on the HMO side of it, that's really, really a good. I've done a couple of HMO videos and for different people, and it's a really we did a day for a local developer here. We did a day in the life. So we followed him in the car, going around to all sort of different locations, going to the suppliers, talking to the suppliers, talking about the pitfalls of when you buy a property, you always get problems along the way. There's always something you've got to overcome, and it was a really interesting. We did it was only about a day's shoot in total, but we produced about 12 different edits. So when you go in and shoot something as well, if you're doing something like that, you're not just left with you obviously produce the main video, but with the editing you can do so many different things. You can produce so many. You can probably get a month or 2 months worth of social media content from a day's shoot. And
that's so important. Even in my business, we do quite a bit on social media, but repurposing the videos and making sure we use them efficiently. So use them for one thing and then reposition them in a certain way for other things really has helped us and made it more cost effective.
Yeah.
We've worked together, and we've obviously
Yeah.
done videos, and we have these on our website now. People can see them, and they bring the actual purpose of what we're doing to life, and also gets out the character of the person more than just photos. So it's yeah, it makes a big difference in any business, and I think people become more engaged with video. So
Yeah, but
it's,
on your side, Mark, I mean, it's interesting because obviously with lenders and the lender situation now, and particularly now with the interest rates and everything sort of got a bit volatile and stuff, it's good to have some. I'm not, with yourself, it's good to have somebody that you can actually come to, and you can normally find a solution to it. Whereas you go
yeah,
to the high street lenders, I'm not saying it, but if you go to a high street lender, I've always found them, not particularly helpful, particularly now because there isn't anybody like the old-fashioned bank manager. And in a way, with respect, you're a modern guy, but you work in that old-fashioned way of going to somebody to borrow money, and it makes the whole process a lot easier because there's nothing like you think, oh, I need to get a property, but where am I going to get a lender that's going to be able to, get a solution for me? So what you do, when I was doing the videos for you, it was good for me to know that type of thing. I came to you recently, didn't I? Because I'm
yeah.
looking at doing an investment. So, that's that side of it is obviously a lot of the time where it all starts, when you're doing investments in HMOs or, that type of property.
Yeah, and it does make a difference. And even if it's to tell somebody that, you're barking up the wrong tree and you need to adjust where your focus is.
Yeah.
We've done a deal recently that hasn't gone to plan, but we've protected the customer all the way through to make sure that they're not getting too deep involved into the transaction and just sitting on the edge, so that we sort of protect them from everything.
Yeah.
Make the journey as pleasurable and as I suppose danger free as possible. That's our main job, and being able to talk on a video about that really does instill confidence in our customers. I think they understand that we care about what we do, and they can see us, and they can see the main things that we're
Bear with
looking
me.
at. So don't worry, it's probably another hot lead.
No, it's probably a company from somebody trying to steal my data. So I'll just put the phone down.
Okay, well, let's hope they don't do that. But Ro, when you're choosing to work with a lender or a broker or any business really, does the video and the content come into play? Is that something that you look at before choosing to use them, or do you just go, well, what's the cheapest rate? Let's go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been drawn to, I guess, a lender or a supplier by the content that they sort of put out there. I guess it's more to do with the numbers of reputation. Do they deliver other people's experience, track record? But if we flip it on its head, then I'm sure when lenders are doing their due diligence on us as borrowers, then it is important to have some sort of public or social media presence so that they can actually get a sense of who you are, what sort of projects you've done, and whether you're actually whether you walk the walk as well as talking the talk. Because actually, you can tell a lot from people's projects from what they post online. I think it's another important point you touched on earlier. The importance of sharing warts and all. It's it can make a huge difference, because if you try and present only a glossy image of successes, then people are going to know that actually, hang on, it's not all bed of roses, and actually there are some tough times and there are challenges, but you can use the opportunity to video yourself or working with a company with interviews and things where you can actually showcase this is what went well, this is what didn't go so well, and that can be really powerful. So definitely, I imagine that lenders and brokers are looking at you as a borrower in terms of what your track record and experience is.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I've worked in banks before, and you do your research on the customer. And when I talk to people, I use an acronym, and one of the letters is I, and that's identity. and it's creating your own personal brand and making sure it's done in the right way. And even I get Facebook friend requests a lot a day, and I always look at how professional their actual profile is, because if it's just somebody who's got a couple of friends on Facebook and there's nothing too much involved in property on there, then I always decline them. But if it's somebody who has a logo, who has a video about their project or photos about projects they've done, then I'm more likely to accept them and therefore accept them as a customer. So it does make a difference, and I know the lenders do the same. They look at everything online. They'll probably go through the first 3 or 4 pages of Google on the person. They'll look at their social media. They'll see what they're all about. So having the right content on there, which obviously Nick's able to help with, is a big part of it. People don't want to lend to people they don't know, and you breed confidence with content and videos and photos.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, we get really good feedback from the people we do work for. We've had some sort of really long-standing relationships with the agents we work with around here. But as I said, it's growing and developing, and reputation's really important. And as you said, the content that you put out there and to people is really important. It's all about perception and how you perceive somebody and all the rest of it. But as I said, the videos that we do, it can be different things, but it is important. It is important, as well as producing the videos. Who's ever having these videos done, I know it's an obvious thing, really, but to make sure that you do post the content and you post it and sort of in a sort of different produce a schedule of the optimum way of doing it. But it's important. You've got to put that content out there, because I've done some work for developers before. We do all these videos and things, but they never put it out there. So it's important. You've got to put it onto LinkedIn and maybe Instagram or whatever sort of channels you like to use, on YouTube channels or whatever. You've got to put it out there and get it out to people.
And it is a long game as well. We have people watching us for periods of time and then making a decision after they've sort of got to know us on social media for a while.
Yeah.
And making sure that we're not just posting stuff once in a while. It's all the time. It's consistent, and the messages are consistent. So, yeah, we have had people say that to us. But we actually, you mentioned about showing warts and all. We actually had our first ever 1-star review this week.
No.
We
did you?
Yes. We had. Did I mention that to you before, Ray? I can't remember if I did.
You didn't, but this is good.
No.
This is good. You're sharing the warts and all. So yeah,
And
tell us
what?
tell
I'm
us
going to
about
keep you
it.
in suspense for 1 second while I just let my dog out, who's at the door, and she wants to get out.
See, this is Walton. This is to show the realities of life. The realities of life. Where are you based? Where are you based? Because I know we've.
Yeah, I'm based in South London.
Okay.
Wandsworth, Tooting way.
She's gone. She's gone at last.
She's gone.
So yeah, we had a customer gave us a 1-star review, and the reason they gave us a 1-star review was because we had been asked to look for a deal for them. We did the work to look for a deal. They wanted to progress with this deal, and we did application into the lender, signed all our terms and conditions, which one of them is a £200 engagement fee. That is, you see it in our privacy notice, you see it in our initial disclosure document, and you see it in an email, which, Rob, I sent you one yesterday, didn't I? I think, I don't know if you've read the email, but it says in there exactly what the fees are, and this is all spelt out. So the customer decided after me doing the application that they didn't want to go ahead, that they had found a better deal elsewhere. So I said, okay, that's fine. You crack on. You go and go to whatever deal you want. And I said, but you do need to pay for the work that we've done. And he wasn't too happy about paying for this work, and refused at first. After a little while, we suggested that we would need to recover this small fee, and he then decided he was going to pay the fee. But he left us a 1-star review on there because of the engagement fee that we charged him, which, I don't know, as a property investor yourself, Ro, does that seem fair, harsh, or?
Yeah, I think, I mean, like, in any commercial game, you know, you sign up to terms, and you should be reading what you're signing up to, you know. And if it clearly says that there's a fee, then you just have to absorb that. And obviously, there's work involved on the other side.
Did he?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ro. Did he sign? Did he read it and sign it
Yes.
to? Yeah. Well, then he shouldn't have any. There
Documents
shouldn't.
read and signed.
Then there shouldn't be any issue. There shouldn't be an issue then, should there? You know.
I don't think so, but he.
But you got a 1-star anyway, yeah.
Got 1-star review.
Did you lose sleep over it?
No, we went back to him and we said we thank you for the feedback. We always try and do our best to improve you from feedback, but these are the reasons why you needed to pay the engagement fee. And then the next day, I got a 5-star review from another customer, which made it all, you know, pale into insignificance to us. But I suppose it is something to learn from. It's something to try and improve, and, you know, use the feedback to improve your service and do things like that. But the brand and everything now on our reviews shows every review is 5-star apart from one. So it shows we're not making them up, which is, I suppose, a good thing as well.
Oh, Mark, how could we possibly think that?
It's all smoke and mirrors.
It's good
We
to
don't
have that
actually have any
sincerity.
customers. We just make up Google reviews.
Yeah, no, that's right. No, I mean, and also at the moment, it's a bit sort of with getting onto. I know it's something completely more different, but with the finance side of it and the fact that the base rates are coming, that have come down to the 4.75, and yet because of the inflationary worries, you've got the lenders who are starting to put their money up. So that's obviously causing it, from your point of view, maybe a little bit of an issue at the moment, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. So we've seen the base rate come down, but we're seeing mortgage rates go up, but we're seeing specialist property finance rates come down. I just
Really?
Yeah, so it's really strange. It's like, what's happening? Why are some rates going up and some going down? I haven't looked into it enough to give you an answer. Ro, any ideas?
Yeah, I guess it comes down to the source of the capital as well that the lenders are deploying. When that was secured, obviously just determine or dictates what the cost of that money is, and therefore how much margin above that cost of capital the banks need to charge, which is why sometimes it doesn't necessarily match what we're seeing in the sort of wider rate environment. But also a lot of mortgage pricing, as we know, is pegged to swap rates rather than the base rate. So the base rate only really dictates your mortgage rate directly when you've got a tracker which tracks that base rate. But that's the one of the key considerations in it all. But a lot of the time, regardless of the base rate changes, you know, the analysts and forecasters have already taken a view of the macro environment and looked at where inflation is heading and where the general macroeconomic environment, kind of what that looks like, and that's all factored into the pricing on the swap rates. But yeah, let's see, because Marc is actually helping me with a little something at the moment as well, which was quite a pleasant surprise on the rate. Yeah.
There's a lot of things affecting it at the moment, so I think it is very. It's always a strange time always seem to say that it's a time where there's flux and everything going on, but that seems to happen more and more. And I also think now that we've got social media, the actual movement of all the schisms that happen are more common. So you get more events that are publicised, and therefore confidence goes up or it goes down, and it creates these issues and these reactions by the lenders, which makes investing more difficult. And I really do think social media has made it more difficult to invest. I don't know. Any thoughts on that?
That's an interesting comment. Let's dig into that a little bit more. What are the key factors?
And where there is uncertainty, though, Mark, do you find that with your specialist knowledge and people, you tend to get more people coming to you because obviously of the uncertainty, and when they get to know what you do you find that benefits you in a way?
I thought you were going to ask a slightly different question there, and so I'll come back to your actual question. The question that I thought in my head you were going to ask was, because of my specialist knowledge, do I find it easier to invest because I know more that what's going on? And my answer to that question is no, I don't, because I understand the risks more, and I am more cautious because I know more, and I know more of what can happen, the negative side as well. So I'm more risk adverse because I have more knowledge. I always find the people that seem to do pretty well, and I don't know if it's long term, but in the short term, are people who have a little bit of knowledge and maybe not too much behind them, and they can take bigger risks. If I lose, I've got a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Comfortable.
Reputational damage, maybe to a degree or whatever.
Reputational damage. I'm comfortable where I am. Why would I take a big risk? That's the question. So going back to your actual question, are more people coming to us? Yes. When there's two different types. So when there's stability, which I know I've just said there's a little bit of flux at the moment, but it's only a little bit compared to other things that have happened. But when it's now where the market seems relatively stable, we get new people into the arena, and we get those people who are looking to, I suppose, start on the property investment journey or take their property investment journey to the next level. We see them come with new projects. When it's a little bit more, I suppose, rocky, we see people who have been sitting on their hands. So more experienced investors that want to strike in terms of uncertainty. So they've been sitting on big portfolios or sitting on cash that they've got, and they know that because of the uncertainty, they can go out and make a very good investment.
Yeah, sure.
And I was on a panel, and I think, Ro, I think you're on the same panel next week, are you? Is it next week? You on a
the Central London Property Network.
Yeah, you're on that panel. I was on it last month, and we had 5 of us on the panel, and the audience, one audience member said, "What's your top tip to invest in?" And all of the panel members said similar things, and it was along the lines of, you need to choose a location and make sure that location is good, or make sure you've got your finances sorted out. But the point I made was about time, and time being cyclical, and everything coming back round, and things happen in cycles, so you can almost predict when things are going to go up, when things are going to go down, and it's very difficult to predict a crash or a massive boom. But it's the hard times aren't going to last forever. The good times aren't going to last forever. So picking your moment and being patient is more valuable them picking the right location or anything like that. In my perspective, it's all
Right.
about being patient and utilizing time, because you don't need to do something right now. Even though you've got money burning a hole in your back pocket, the timing of it is as important or more important than the actual investment you're making itself, in my opinion. Ro, I bet you disagree.
Mm. Do you?
Yeah, and the timing very much dictates the
Yeah.
price you can pay because of what's
Mm,
happening in the market.
mm. And have you, with, I know it's difficult because obviously different decisions are being made, and which is governing what's going on, I guess. But do you see, Mark, how it's going to go? The sort of the interest rates are going to go in the next year, or you
Yeah,
can't
so
really.
they believe that base rate will go down to, I think it was Goldman Sachs said 2.75% by the end of next year.
Re,
I
re,
think,
really?
yeah, that's what Goldman Sachs have said. Um, the I suppose problem we've got that I can see coming up is, I think next year, as rates have been coming down, we'll have a
Mm,
really active early period of the year. So the first few months of the year. But then in April, the stamp duty relief
oh yeah.
ends. So I think that will slow everything back down. You know,
Mm,
it's good. It'll have an impact, in my opinion. So I think rates may be coming down, but there are other factors that are slowing things up. And as Labour bring in more of their policies, I think things will slow down. We've already seen the growth in the economy slow. So it was up 0.5%, I think, in the second quarter, and now it's slowed down. I can't remember what the figure, 0.1% or 0.2 maybe. I can't remember. I read
mm,
it yesterday, but we've already seen a slowdown in the economy from what the governmental change. So
mm.
my thoughts are, strike while the iron's hot early on in the year, and then maybe just wait and see what happens.
Mm. How are you on? You know the buy to let situation, yeah. How are you finding that? Are you finding people are still venturing into that sort of side of things?
People, there's not many people that just buy a buy to let. There's,
Right. Okay.
nobody. I can't remember the last time that somebody came to me and said, "Can I buy
Oh, okay.
a two-bedroom house or two-bedroom flat, whatever, and rent it out just like that?"
Mm.
That doesn't happen. People buy a one-bedroom place, turn it into a two-bedroom place, and then rent it out. Or they buy a three-bed house, they
Okay.
turn it into a five-bed
Yeah.
HMO,
Yeah.
and then rent it out.
Yeah.
It
Right.
only
Okay.
works if you add value. That's
Yeah. Got
that's
it.
the bottom line.
Are you
It's
Yeah.
just linked to that actually?
yeah.
Are you seeing many buy-to-let refinances? Because obviously we hear that a lot of people with buy-to-lets obviously aren't making any returns on them anymore, and actually are just
Yeah. That's what I was.
selling up instead.
Only portfolios we're seeing refinanced. We don't see that many buy to lets being just like one buy to let being refinanced. You
Yeah,
don't really see that a lot. But saying that,
they'll
we're
be
not seeing a
they'll
lot
be
of
likely
sales
selling
either.
them.
But then you have to think about the cycles as well. So since the challenger banks came in, there's been, most lenders offer their better rates on a 5-year fix. When I say better rates, I suppose better stress tests on a 5-year fix. You can get more money out of the deal if you do a 5-year fix. So
Mm.
if you think the challengers sort of came in 2011, 2012, maybe that sort of time. The 5 years from there up to 2018, people were going on 5-year fixes. But then the PRA made the changes where 5-year fixes were, I suppose, ring fenced from the harsher stress test. And the 5 years from 2018 is now. So you would expect to see a lot more refinances coming through this year and maybe next year as well.
Yeah.
The cycle moves, and it is a a different landscape. Because if you think the landscape 5 years ago, you would get offered a variable rate, a 2-year fix or a 5-year fix with a 2% fee, whatever the rate is. Now you'll get offered a variable 2-year or a 5-year fix, but you can have a 10% fee, a 7% fee, a 5% fee, 3, 2 or 0, and then your rate would be higher or lower dependent on what the fee is. So
Yeah.
there is a lot more choice out there, but the stress tests are working harder because of the yields that have been squeezed. The yields, you just don't see the yields that allow you to just function on a 5-year fix with a 2% fee. It just doesn't seem to work as well. So there has been a change. So people will need to factor that in going forward.
And Ro, on your side of it with properties, do you do all of your video work yourself, or do you use other teams to do it, or how does it work?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. It's something worth exploring further. Typically I've done my own. I definitely see the value in getting other people to do it, especially when you're, for example, if you're trying to sell a product at the end. It's a no-brainer. You have to use professionals that can help you to get some really crisp marketing material to help you to sell and showcase the property. I typically buy to hold, so because I'm refinancing rather than selling, it's not so much of a priority for me. However, it does help in terms of being able to showcase your work for your investors, attracting new investors, and also just generally sharing an update with your network as to what it is you do and what you focus on. And it can be really powerful for that. So not something I've done to date, but something I would definitely consider, because it's also that time from a time efficiency perspective. Sometimes it's better just to utilise someone else's expertise. Because the other thing is the editing and the posting on social media, and you've talked about how it's good to repurpose snippets from long form content that you might have produced, and being able to create and produce those bits that you can repost and repurpose to different social media channels is definitely worth. Unless you're all over your social media, it's good to have someone to help you with that, especially when you need to understand which channels respond best to the different types of content. And actually, it's a question for you. Do you get involved in, I guess, the social media posting side as well, or is it more just on the production?
I do sometimes, but I use if I'm got anything that I want to be more strategic with, I actually use the social media companies. They're based in Bordeaux, believe it or not, but it's somebody that I know will do a good job, because then I'll get like a mood board, they'll put a mood board together what I want to do if it's something really quite elaborate, and then I'll get a schedule they'll put a schedule together for me. But generally, if it's something, I'll just do it myself. Or in actual fact, my daughter's just joined my team, so she's coming in to do the social media and also to do the content to the younger audience, if you like, because which is important to attract all the different demographics, to attract all different things, because sometimes we'll look at doing we'll target salons, we'll target different things. We don't just do property, we do different things. But as I said, if it's something really quite elaborate, I'd probably use that social media team to post. But if it's something that's just that I want to do quite quickly and it's not so important to me, not that important, you understand what I mean, I just feel that I could do that and an instant thing, I'll do it myself. But I use a team if anything professional.
And generally, for people who are perhaps producing their own creating their own content and posting it themselves, perhaps people who are slightly earlier on in their journey, what are your top tips for them in terms of video production? We talked about gimbals and we talked about drones and things earlier. But,
well, as I said, I think if you're videoing a property, it's quite important. When we're doing things, we try and get natural light if we can, wherever possible. Obviously, we use lighting. A gimbal, as I said, is really, I know you just said that, but it's very important because it acts like a gyro, so it sort of keeps the camera steady. And you can use a gimbal not only because we use like Sony cameras, video cameras, but there's a gimbal now for phones as well, isn't there? You can use a gimbal on an iPhone or a phone. So yeah, gimbal's important, lighting's important. Also, I know it's an obvious thing, but to make sure if you're videoing a property that it's clear, it's not cluttered, because that's something. It makes it more seamless then to get the property video done in a quicker way, and it'll look better. Yeah, as I said, and also if somebody has got a drone or they've got access to a drone, they can, as I said, the location, if it's a good location in particular, to make sure they capture that and show where the location of the property is. So they're the sort of main things that we look for on the expensive properties that we do. As I said, it depends what their budget is if they were doing it themselves, but make sure it's dressed and make sure the property looks really good. Sometimes we'll if it's a really expensive property, we'll get a champagne bucket or obvious things really. So it just makes it look nicer. It might be that they've maybe like. Sorry?
If it's not an expensive property, you get some roller cola put on the side or something.
You can put, yeah, you can get some cans of whatever. I'm trying to think of special brew on the side, which is rather nice, yeah. And an ashtray with a cigarette burning is quite a good one. No, you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it's just making sure that the obvious things, that the property looks presentable. We go to some properties where they're like round here, £1 million properties, and my God, you wouldn't believe it. They're just, you go in there and you think, why did you not clear this stuff away? Because and we spend a lot of time, but it's true. We spend a lot of time clearing stuff. And also, sometimes there's pictures that are maybe inappropriate, but you wouldn't want them on the video. So just make sure that when you before you shoot, it's all clear and decluttered and looking as good as it can, really. Obviously if it's a lesser value property, it doesn't mean to say it can't look good, because it can still look good. You can have a cheap property, relatively cheap property, but it can still look really lovely, look really homely. All these things maximize the attributes of the property, irrespective of value. That's it. Obvious things, right?
Makes sense. Good.
Great tips. Thank you for that.
It's really interesting. We're coming up to our time limit really now, but if people want to get hold of you, Nick, what can they do? How can they find you?
They can send me an email. It's nick@beaubrummellproductions.co.uk. So that's Nick, NICK, I'll spell it, BEAUBRUMM for mother, ELL, and then the word productions.co.uk. You can look at Beau Brummell Productions. Well, I've got a YouTube channel, or you can call my number, which is great because I love to speak to people. Nothing better than speaking to people. My number's 07958 064 774, and my website is www.beaubrummellproductions.co.uk. So that's it. Excellent. I hope that's helpful.
Sounds good. Brilliant. Well, thank you for that. Really has been an interesting dive into the world of videography and production. So I'm sure everyone's been interested in hearing about it, because on these podcasts previously we've been looking more at the monetary side, but actually creating the platform to be able to best position yourself to get the money is very important as well. So
and one last thing. Sorry, Mark. And one last thing as well. Because we're based here, it doesn't mean to say we're on the moon and we can't get anywhere. If somebody's based in London or even wherever, we do shoots all over the country. We pitch our price point is good. I don't want to go over top and sound like a Mr. Salesman at the end, but our price point is very good, and we look at each project in each time. It's on its own merit, and we're good value for money, and we won't it's not just about traveling around here. We'll travel all over the place wherever anybody needs us. So if you need our services, please give us a call or message me or email me, and love to have a chat.
Excellent. Brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Ro, anything more from you?
No, that's it. As ever, if anyone's got any questions or feedback for us, please do contact us directly, myself or Mark. The contact details will be in the show notes and the post description, as ever.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thanks for joining
Nick,
us, Nick.
and thank you for everybody listening in. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That concludes another episode of Show Me the Money podcast, Unlocking Property Finance. Connect with us on social media where we share additional tips, resources, and behind-the-scenes insights. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep making those smart investment moves. This has been Show Me the Money, Unlocking Property Finance.